All right, let's continue with news site 3. So now we're going to be integrating our article API.js into our app. And at the moment, there are two components that use article data. Those are homepage.js and articlepage.js. There are other components that actually render the information, but the things that actually get it from our JSON file are these two pages. So we import news from data news JSON and have article equal news this.props.match.params article ID -1 and pass it in like so. So we want to modify article page and home page so that they use our API methods instead. We open up the API methods as well so that we can take a look at them. If I can find them. There we go. So in order to do that, we're going to be using one of React's lifecycle methods called component_did_mount. So there are several lifecycle methods, and we're going to be getting into more detail about the React lifecycle tomorrow. So component_did_mount is the one you'll most commonly be using. And it is essentially a function that runs when the component is rendered to the screen. So it's essentially saying when component is mounted to the screen, do this. So we'll get into more detail about what other stuff you can do with that tomorrow, but for now, this is kind of the main thing you need to know about it. So I'm going to change up our article page component, and there's actually a nice example here of how to use component_did_mount. So this kind of very basic example, they have state, which has something called some data from an API. And they declared component_did_mount to be an asynchronous function, calls the API, and then sets state. And when state gets updated, it triggers a re-render. So we're going to be using this as a kind of a template for what we do. So we're going to follow this pattern here. So component mounts, gets the response, re-renders the page. That's the idea. So let's start with our article page. We'll just get one article. So I'm going to comment that out. I'm going to import, so it's called fetch article by ID. Is it ID with capital D or lowercase d? Capital D from /API/articles_API.js. And let's give this thing some state. I'm going to set state like so. And we're going to have article be null. And then we're going to set up our asynchronous component_did_mount. So async component, and it's actually showing us here, right? Component_did_mount. Also get rid of this for now. And so what we want to do is we want to do our call. So we can say let article equal await, fetch article by ID. And I believe that our ID should be in props. Taking a look at this. Yeah, we'd have a prop called article ID. Actually going to console.log props here. Just so I know, or it'd be this.props, just so I know how exactly it's working. It's going to comment this out for now, just so we can get this. Going. Console, we should have an error. Oh, console. All right, there's our props. And we should be able to get our article ID by going props.match params.article ID. All right, so in this case, we're going to be doing let article equal await, fetch article by ID, this dot props dot match, this for props dot match dot, nope, dang it. Dot params dot article ID. All right. And then we'd want to say set state. Is it this dot set state? Let's take a look at that thing again. I always forget when you're supposed to use this or not. So it'd be this dot set state. Article is now going to be article. And now I'm going to uncomment this and just make sure that I change these references to article to this dot article, this dot state dot article.
On line 15, do you need to put a quote around the first article? Or no? Good.
I don't believe so. Yeah, not with a React object. All right, so we're having a problem with read property multimedia of null. And as you can see here, our data has changed its shape, so we need to be this dot state dot article dot image now. Uh-oh. All right, we've got a problem. It says here, we cannot read property image of null. So this dot state dot article is not what I hoped it would be. So I'm going to comment this out again, just so we can take a look at state to make sure it's doing what we want it to. Object is not a function. So let article equal await fetch. All right, I think something I did wrong up here, maybe. It seems to think that we have a problem with what fetch article by ID actually is. I wonder if it's something you just have to have this around it. Nope, okay. All right, I'm clearly messing something up.
Could we try changing the name on line 13 and then again on line 15? So change, because to me, line 15, it says article, and hopefully it's intelligent enough to figure it out, but I would think, like, you know, maybe.
Yeah. Doesn't hurt. So we could call it fetched article. All right, so I'm going to try something else real quick. I'm going to try console.logging fetch article by ID, making sure it's what we think it is. I should be seeing a function here. Okay, yeah, there it is. It's a function, all right. So object is not a function. Interesting. Line 13. So when we fetch it, something is not going the way we want it to. Fetch article by ID is a function though.
Do you need a semicolon there?
A semicolon where?
At the end of line 12. I
And
think
we
it
try.
auto. Let's see.
Never hurts to add a semicolon. Line 12 now it says, yeah. Interesting, because it seems what I'm getting from this error, if I'm not mistaken, is that it thinks that this is an object and I'm calling it like a function, but I've already when I console logged it, it said it was a function.
I thought I saw 3 items in there when you console logged it.
Yeah, I remember that too now that I'm thinking about it. So something to do with how our API is exported. So I thought that just doing import fetch article by ID. All right, I think I have an idea. So I'm just going to call this, API functions. And I do.
Is that function exported correctly out of articles API? No.
I think it is. It's just exported in a different way. So I'm going to call API functions that fetch articles by ID. Wait. Okay, it's restarting. All right, so it's still not working, but it isn't breaking now, so that's a good sign. So take a look at our components. Navbar, browser router, article page. State, okay, we have our article in state. And, okay, because I commented this out. Try that one more time, fingers crossed. Oh, come on. Okay, so, all right, I think I have an idea of what happened here. Does anyone want to weigh in on what they think did it? It says here, cannot read property image of null. So what's the problem when I try to render this article?
Is it because it's loading the very first time before it's waiting, or is the render happening after the did mount?
Yeah, so it seems like it's trying to render it right away, and it doesn't know what to do because we haven't hit that component did mount yet. Component did mount runs after this is already put onto the thing. So we need to make sure that this only renders when we actually have our article.
Is your initial article state set to an empty object?
We could try that, yeah. We could do like so, see what that changes.
That'll get rid of your error.
Nope, yep, there it goes. And if I go to articles/2, all right. That looks pretty good. So now I realize that articles API was exported as an object, which is why I needed to change it to fetch article by ID, like API functions dot fetch article by ID. So that was my mistake in not knowing how this was exported actually.
So
Okay.
it was exported as, gotcha, as,
Mhm.
interesting.
All right. Any questions about how we did article page here?
I think I just missed why changing that to an empty object literal even mattered if the state was being, I mean, the state's already being changed, right? On line 14, you're setting the state, but why you changed it from null to an empty, right? And like,
Mhm.
how did that even matter?
Yeah, good question. So I'm gonna try something out real quick. So if I try to get an example like null.image here, cannot read property image of null, it doesn't know what to do. If I create an empty object and then try to get obj.null, it just returns undefined. So it doesn't throw an error, it just can't find it.
OBG or dot image versus dot null.
Yeah, obj.image, same thing. So it's just a matter of how an empty object responds to a key versus trying to call something that doesn't exist for null.
I guess I'm wondering like how, because this dot set state
Oh,
is,
in the initial render, Chris.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was hitting the initial render when it tried to go image equals this.state.article.image. And when it tried to do essentially this.state.article was equal to null.
Yep.
And so when you try to do null.image, you get an error as opposed to just undefined.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, so that runs the initial time, and then I keep forgetting, sorry, I just keep forgetting that this dot set state actually is refreshing the component, so it refreshes the page or refreshes the component on the page.
Exactly.
That's what that's where there was a detachment right there, and I just couldn't. I was like, why would that matter if we go in and change the state later? And I just keep forgetting that this dot set state is actually refreshing the thing. So I think that's what I was trying to ask. But I got the whole, like, it's not referencing anything initially, but then I just wasn't making the connection of the refresh is automatic. It happens and it updates the component part. So thank you.
No problem.
We need to talk about life cycle tomorrow, right? No.
Yeah, that's the lecture topic for tomorrow is going into more detail about life cycling. But the general idea is, render return happens during the mounting phase. So this is the mounting right here. And then component did mount runs right after that. And there's like other versions of that, like component will mount to run before that. And like component did unmount to run after it gets unmounted from the DOM. So there are many of these that allow you to kind of interact with it at every stage of the life cycle. Great. So let's try working at the home page now. So home page right now gets all of its things from that, from the JSON objects. Now we want to get it from our API. So let's set things up. So first, let's make sure that we are importing our API methods. /API /articles API.js. We're not importing news anymore. And now we want to set up state. And we're going to say articles is going to equal, let's make it an empty array this time because it's going to be a list of articles. And we know that articles is now going to take, instead of news, this.state.articles. Oh wait, it's not an equal sign, it's a colon. That's what's causing that error. All right, so now it doesn't, now articles is empty, doesn't have anything to display. Then we can set up our async await. Nope. Async component did mount. And then we can say let article list equal await API functions dot fetch articles. Nope. We aren't giving it any filters this time. And then we want to say this dot set state. Articles will now be article list. And there we go. And now I believe we shouldn't need to do the article ID +1. We should just be able to do article ID. Okay, maybe we do need to do article ID +1 because it's still giving me 0. All right. So almost the same thing that we did for article page. We just used a different method from our API functions. Any questions about how we've used our API, how we use an API to update state?
Noah, is your article list setting the key?
I'm sorry?
List. What components drive in the display the individual articles? I'm trying to see where the key is set.
So you mean when we are on this page, we're trying to figure out what rendering all these articles?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why it's not complaining if the key's not set. Maybe it is, and I'm just not seeing it.
So it'll only be complaining in the console. I'm sure we're getting an error here somewhere. Yeah, each child in a list should have a unique key property. So that's for our app nav. But that so the way React is set up is that if you don't have the keys, it won't break the app. It'll just, you know, let you know there's an error in the error. So I could find app nav and update that real quick to get rid of that, because that looks like it's, yeah. So nav item, nav link, key equals I. So I'll probably get rid of that thing. But I think these article teasers do have keys if we're not getting an error for them.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Yeah, because the homepage doesn't render the article teasers, the article list component does. And if we look at that, I bet it's giving everything its own. Yep, there's the key.
And it's just based off of just going to the map. Got it.
Yeah, it's just based off the index. All right, so we have our success criteria. Homepage.js and article.js should utilize the article API and fetch data from article API.js and display that data. Good. So we have some refactoring here. So we have some refactoring success criteria. Unit tests have already been reconfigured to account for these changes. So we want all of our tests to pass. So let's take a look at our tests. Going to make a new. So, so npm run test. see where we're failing so we can fix it. All right, so we have 2 tests passing so far. Still going. We have a lot of tests now. So we have 2 failed tests. Let's see what we can do about those. So this is in, wow, this is being very clunky. One sec. Where are you? What is this test? It's a long error. Okay. appnav.test.js. Cannot read property map of undefined at report exception. So let's take a look at what's actually here. So the appnav component. So at this moment, the data that determines what appears in the main navigation is contained within app.js's state. Our product managers have decided that the new section that we present on the site will never change. That said, we can remove this data from app.js's state and move the data into a JSON file in our code base and import it directly into appnav.js. And it's already created that JSON file for us, src/config/sections.json. Okay, so we can fix that up. So app.js, we don't need these nav items anymore. Well, actually, before we do that, let's open up appnav and get that JSON file. So where did they say that was? That was in src/config/sections. There's config, sections.json, and that's already set up for us. All right, so taking a look at app.js real quick, make sure or let's see here, article page, how did we do that? Yep, so we should just be able to go to import news or sections from /config/sections.json. And it looks like we won't need nav items here in our props, so we can get rid of this. Instead of nav items.map, we'll do sections.map. And then we should be able to get rid of edit app.js so that we don't hold those sections in state anymore. And we aren't using this article anymore. We're not getting a random article. So we can honestly get rid of this entire constructor because we're not getting a random article anymore. We're not holding anything in state. So we can just get rid of the entire constructor. While that test is running, I'm also going to make sure that the app isn't broken. Uh-oh, cannot read property nav items of null. So that was in app.render, so I need to, yeah, nav items is no longer nav items. We're just going to get rid of this entirely. Can I read a property nav items of null? Line 14, it says. Oh. Is that how it's supposed to look? I'm not seeing as many sections as I thought I would. Or did they just narrow it down to those few? Okay, no, they just narrowed it down like that. We're good. All right, so let's see here. We're still failing appnav test.js, it looks like. All right, so it's expected value to equal 4. We only got 5, but we got 5. Interesting. Where did it do that? I wonder if it's because we're using nav links instead of a tags for this one. Well, that wouldn't give us 5 links, would it? Well, while I'm worried about that, let's take a look at the article teaser link as well. So it says article teaser link. At the moment, we're passing down a callback function from homepage.js to article list to article teaser. This handles redirection when the title in article teaser is clicked. The logic was overly and unnecessarily complicated. So instead, we can utilize React Router's link component in article teaser.js. So let's take a look at that, React Router's link component. So it looks like we can just do link to / about equals about. Looks like it's a pretty easy thing to use. So let's try that. So that was an article teaser, it said. So instead of on click, let's see here. So it looks like we don't need to have this a tag with a href and an on click. I'm gonna get rid of this. It looks like we can just be able to go to link. We set 2 to equal so be / articles / doesn't like the backticks for some reason. Whoa. Okay, catastrophic. That's not good. Okay, I'll put it back the way it was.
Gotta be inside curly brackets, no?
Ah, yes, thank you. There we go. And inside there, we want to put the ID. And here we want to put title. Ah, we need to import, looks like link isn't defined by default. Where do we import link from?
React.
Mm-hmm. All right, it's not showing anything. I'm getting any errors? Nope, babe, something's happening. Whoa, 121 errors, that's not good. What did I do wrong? Element type is invalid, expected a string. Element type is invalid. React create element is invalid. What is going on? All right, so clearly I'm messing something up. I'm still not entirely sure what.
Are you passing a callback down through the children?
I have been. I'm just not I'm not using it, but
isn't it this React routers link as opposed to React link?
Oh. So we'd import link from React router. Oh, okay. Element type, okay, it's giving me the error again. Check the render method of article teaser. Nope, okay. Whoa, all right, what's happening? All right, so I've still got some problems here, so.
Is it React Router DOM? DOM on your import?
Yeah, it looks like it should be. Thank you. Let's try that. React Router DOM. Interesting, is usually I would imagine if it was a problem with just I was importing it from the wrong place, it would just tell me that this is undefined or something, or so it's giving me something else though. Okay, it's got something here. Link is not exported from React Router. Okay. Just work with React Router DOM. All right, it says link is not exported from React Router. But I changed it so it's React Router DOM. I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm just gonna see if that it has something to do with me trying to do string interpolation. Debugging is fun. Okay, so getting rid of that string interpolation did make it stop breaking. So that's where the problem was, I suppose. So what am I doing wrong here? So I save that. Okay, now it's working. Just make sure it's ID +1. Okay, now it seems to be working. I don't know. I'm not sure what actually happened there. But it looks like it works, and that's the important thing. All right, so link is a very cool thing. If you can get it working, make sure you import it from React Router DOM, as we just saw here. And now we can get rid of handle title click from all of the things that it inherits from. So we can get rid of handle title click here as well. And an article list as well. It looks like I deleted something I shouldn't have. Okay, what the heck?
The handle title click was
Oh,
written in 3 different places.
yeah. It was handed down from home page to article list to article teaser. And now, thanks to the link tag, that function is now irrelevant. Okay, except we have now an unexpected token in article list in homepage.js. One sec. There we go. All right. Any questions about news site 3? Okay, so you'll be doing this on your own after lunch today. So make sure you try it out, learn from my mistakes as I I make them so you don't have to, hopefully. And in that case, yes?
One quick question. I know in the previous one with the A links, we did a prevent default to stop displaying well, A to actually stop posting the hashtag up at the end of the URL.
Yep.
But if you hovered over the link, even though that prevent default, if you hovered over the link, it would still have like the hashtag. Okay, so yeah, it's in
Yep.
the section here where now it actually does the link for where it's actually going. So
Yeah. So link kind of takes care of all of that weird logic that was messing us up earlier.
okay.
Hey, any other questions? All right. In that case, I'm going to leave the room so I can get the recordings up.